What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a reaction to one of my favorite individuals in the music world, Nick Cave, and of course the Bad Seeds. The Curse of Millhaven, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, patron of the channel, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. You guys support us anyway. Check out that Patreon link below, the Patreon link on the Instagram. We've got quite a bit of Nick Cave up here. We could not have this channel without our patrons. All right, if you watch this channel a lot or you come to our live streams, which are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you will know how much I love Nick Cave. I think he's a top 10, possibly top 5 songwriter of all time. Yeah, you heard that right, of all time. And Trey and I were able to see him just a couple months ago at the time of this filming here in Dallas in a little 1,800-seat theater when he went on his tour, his solo tour with Colin Greenwood from Radiohead playing bass. And it was fantastic. So this is off his Murder Ballads album in 1996, and it is what it sounds like, traditional, and then some that Nick has written. Murder ballads, right? I mean, who doesn't like a good murder ballad? And Chris, the patron that brought this, said, why not celebrate some Christmas cheer, because it's almost Christmas when I'm filming this, with one of Nick Cave's murder ballads. The storytelling, delivery, and instrumental accompaniment is masterful here. I can imagine other greats like Tom Waits and Leonard Cohen penning something like this. As with much of the album, Nick's genius here is in making you smile with his lyricism, regardless of how much you try and resist, given the underlying darkness of the subject matters. And like I said, I mean, Nick is next level. The more I hear him, the more I love him. Trey and I did album drafts of the top 10 albums of every year from 1965 to 2022. We're about to do 2023 by the time you watch this. That'll be up. We did that last year, and almost every one of Nick Cave's albums, like literally almost every one of them, were in one of our top 5s. Normally, this guy's, although Trey loves him too. So let's jump into this. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always, which is important. Thanks again, Chris.
I live in a town called Millhaven, and it's small, and it's mean, and it's cold. But if you come around just as the sun goes down, you can watch the whole thing turn to gold. It's around then that I used to go a-roaming, la-la-la-la, oh, God's children, they all gotta die. My name is Loretta, but I prefer Lottie. I'm closing in on my 15th year. If you think that you've seen a pair of eyes more green, then you sure haven't seen them around here. Well, my hair is a yellow and I'm always a combing, la-la-la-la, la-la-la-la. My mama often told me that we all got to die. You must have heard about the curse of Millhaven, how last Christmas Bill Blakey's little boy didn't come home. They found him the next week up in 1 Mile Creek with his head bashed in and his pockets full of stones. Well, just imagine all of the wailing and moaning, la 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 la, la 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 la. Even Bill Blakey's boy, he had to die. Then Professor O'Rye from Millhaven High found nailed to his door his prize-winning terrier. The next day the old fool brought little Biko to school, and we all had to watch as he buried her. Well, his eulogy to Biko had all the tears flowing, la 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 la, la 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 la. Even God's little creatures, they have to die. Our little town fell into a state of shock. A lot of people were saying things that made little sense. The next thing you know, the head of Handyman Joe was found in the fountain of the mayor's residence. Well, foul play can really get a small town going. La 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 la, la 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 la. Even God's children, they have to die. In a cruel twist of fate, old Mrs. Colgate was stabbed, but the job was not complete. Well, the last thing she said before the cops pronounced her dead was, my killer is Loretta and she lives across the street. Oh, 20 cops burst through my door without even phoning. La 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 la, La 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 la. The young ones and the old ones, they all got to die. Yes, it is I, Lottie, the curse of Millhaven. I've struck horror in the heart of this town. Like my eyes ain't green and my hair ain't yellow. It's more like the other way around. I got a pretty little mouth underneath all the foaming. La 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 la, la 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 la. Sooner or later, we all gotta die. Since I was no bigger than a weevil, they've been saying I was evil, that a bed was a boot that I'd fitted, that I'm a wicked young lady, but I've been trying hard lately. Oh, fuck it, I'm a monster, I admit it. Well, it makes me so mad that my blood starts a-going. La 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 la, la 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 la. Mama always told me that we all gotta die. Well, yeah, I drowned the Bailey kid, stabbed Mrs. Colgate, I admit. Did the handyman with his circular saw in his garden shed. But I never crucified little Bico, that was two junior high school cycles. Stinky Bo-Hoon and his friend with a pumpkin-sized head. I'll sing to the lot, now that you got me going. La 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 la, la 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 la. Oh, God's children have all got to die. Then there are all of the others, all our sisters and brothers. You assume we're accidents best forgotten. Recall the children who broke through the ice on Lake Tahoe. Everyone assumed the warning signs and followed them to the bottom. Well, they're underneath the house where I do quite a bit of stowing. La 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 la, la 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 la. Even 20 little children, they had to die. And the fire in 91 that raised the Bella Vista slum, that was the biggest shit fight this country's ever seen. Insurance companies ruined landlords getting sued, all because of a wee little girl with a can of gasoline. Those flames really roared when the wind started blowing. La 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 la, la 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 la. Well, the rich man and the poor man, they all gotta die. Well, I confessed to all these crimes and they put me on trial. I was laughing when they took me away off to the asylum in an old Black Mariah. Well, it ain't home, but you know it's better than jail. It ain't such a bad old place to have a home in. La 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 la, la 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 la. Oh, God's children, they all gotta die. Now I got shrinks who will not rest with their endless Rorschach tests. I keep telling them that I think they're out to get me. They ask me if I feel remorse, and I answer why I curse. There's so much more I could have done if they'd let me. So it's Rorschach and Prozac and everything is groovy. La 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 la, yes la 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 la. But all God's children, they all have to die. La 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 la, la 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 la. I'm happy as a lark now, and everything is fine. La 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 la, la 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 la. Everything is groovy, everything is fine. La 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 la, la 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 la. But all God's children, they gotta die.
The Curse of Millhaven. I mean, you gotta either listen intently or you gotta read the lyrics. I mean, this song is so well. It's 13 verses, and it just tells the story of Millhaven, and all these people die, right? And Lottie comes in pretty early on, Loretta, but she likes to be called Lottie. She's this little innocent younger girl, right? She doesn't do anything, but it turns out that she killed Mrs. Colgate, but she didn't get the job done quite when she stabbed her. So Mrs. Colgate, right before she died, told the cops, it's Loretta across the way. They arrest her, and she's just like, yeah, I did all this, and I did all the ones you thought were an accident. I burned this place down that caused all these issues, but they didn't send me to jail. They sent her to a mental institution, and so she's very happy about that. But they all got to die. And I think in the refrain, the la, 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 sooner or later, we all got to die. It's just Nick Cave at his best, right? It's not his best song, but like seeing and understanding. You got the great Warren Ellis, which Nick and Warren Ellis did this album called Carnage a couple years ago. That's fantastic. You got to go check that one out. Different sounding than this, but just fantastic. But he's on the violin on here. And then on the organ, you've got Nick himself. And the accordion, you got Warren Ellis. So the instrumentation's so drivey, but Nick's got to keep up with this, right? And he just does such a fantastic job. It's such a ride. It's 7 minutes. It doesn't seem like it at all. Just a great tune. So let me know what you think of this tune, boy. What are some of your favorite Nick Cave tunes? At some point, I'm going to do a Nick Cave video where I just talk about how underrated he is as a lyricist while I make my case that he's a top 10 lyricist of all time. So look for that coming up somewhere down the pike. But thanks again to Chris for this one. Until next time, guys, I will see you.